So, for another project I was working on, sorry guys, not the second Charles Taylor video, I promise it will come out eventually. I was looking into the history of Western Sahara. During my research, I reached a roadblock when I got up to the Ifni War, or as it's commonly known in Spain, the Forgotten War. If you look at the top results when you search it up online, you will be misled. Look at this example, and this example. Often the war is misclassified as a war between Spain and its ally France against the Moroccan government, which only amplifies confusion when one looks at the outcomes of the war, which has Morocco gaining significant ground despite them seemingly being decisively defeated. However, in actuality, it was the irredentist Moroccan Army of Liberation, a huge armed insurgent group doing the bidding for the Moroccan government, which would ultimately switch sides and win big, with repercussions that are still felt to this day. To set the stage, it's 1955 and the Moroccan independence movement is in full swing, and various armed guerrilla movements decide to unite under one banner. They formed the Moroccan Army of Liberation, a paramilitary organization whose key goals were to kick out the French from Morocco and the Spanish from parts of Morocco as well as Spanish Sahara. Following Morocco achieving its independence from France in 1956, there was a huge armed paramilitary organization still lying around, the Moroccan Army of Liberation, and it hadn't been fully disbanded. As one can imagine, this made the new Moroccan government quite nervous, as post-colonial governments aren't really known for their stability, and a huge armed organization hanging around without much to do isn't something that anybody would want. This nervousness was amplified by the fact that following the French departure, the group had managed to seize multiple armories, which had led to them becoming significantly more powerful. The government of Morocco tried to integrate the group into the Forces Armées Royales, which had varying levels of success, with about 10,000 Army of Liberation insurgents agreeing to lay down their arms. However, that didn't solve the issue, and the Moroccan military still wasn't strong enough to directly confront the group, though the insurgents' attention began being focused on taking control of the Spanish enclave at Sidi Ifni in Morocco, as well as Spanish Sahara. This was much to the delight of the Moroccan government, who had similar wants and policy in this regard. You may ask why the Moroccan government and the Army of Liberation were concerned with the Spanish enclave and what was then Spanish Sahara. There are a few reasons for that. The first being, the Spanish enclave at Sidi Ifni was established in the middle of Moroccan territory without the agreement of Morocco in the late 1400s. Following the Spanish forcefully seizing land, this caused substantial tension and conflict between the groups. Eventually, the area was seceded to the Spanish following the Spanish-Moroccan War and the peace agreement in 1860. The second reason being, various Moroccan rulers had varying degrees of control over Western Sahara at different times. This is primarily what modern Moroccan claims to Western Sahara are based upon. Hence, they viewed the area as part of Morocco that was yet to be decolonized. The third reason being, the Sahrawis, who were the native ethnic group in Western Sahara, believed that the Moroccans would be less repressive than the Spanish were, meaning that it would present a route for them to gain independence from. War would eventually break out on the 23rd of November 1957, following the Army of Liberation's attack at Sidi Ifni. This started the Ifni War, or as it's called in Spain, the Forgotten War. Eventually, the war would expand southwards into Western Sahara proper. The Spanish even ended up changing what they would call the Army of Liberation to the Sahrawi Liberation Army, highlighting the changing dynamics and nature of the conflict as it almost shifted into a war for independence by the Sahrawis. However, for continuity's sake, we're going to keep on referring to them as the Army of Liberation. The Army of Liberation roamed around in the deserts unchallenged, crossing between Western Sahara, Algeria, and Mauritania as they saw fit, allowing them to implement their hit-and-run style tactics effectively. You may ask, where does Morocco feature in all of this? Well, the Moroccan government was providing funding and logistical support for the Army of Liberation to support their war. Following a string of military defeats and heavy losses, the Spanish eventually called in the French for help. The French agreed to intervene, not wanting to risk anti-colonial insurgency to spread down south to its sub-Saharan colonies. The Army of Liberation and French forces had already clashed in small-scale skirmishes in Mauritania. The Spanish and French worked together to prepare a plan titled Operation Écuvillon. On February 10th, the operation was launched, with both armies contributing around 14,000 soldiers combined, as well as 110 aircraft. Over the next few weeks, the Europeans were able to beat back the Army of Liberation out of Spanish Sahara and inflict heavy casualties. The Moroccans, seeing the writing on the wall and how the Army of Liberation would not be winning, decided this was the perfect time to switch sides and work towards the complete destruction of the group, which they never really had warm and fuzzies for. They allowed the Europeans to access their air bases, from which they were able to finish off the last remnants of the rebels. The Europeans were pleased with the Moroccan government's contributions in the war, and the Angers-Cintra Agreement was signed to end the conflict on April 2, 1958. This agreement ceded control of the Spanish-controlled Tarfaya Strip to the Moroccans. This may seem strange, considering Morocco's limited role in the conflict and giving over land not seemingly aligning with Spanish interests. However, there are a few reasons that are speculated to be behind the decision, including Spanish prisoners would be released in exchange for the land, the US pressuring a pro-Moroccan agreement to help strengthen the pro-West king, and as a thank you for the assistance against the Army of Liberation in the final stages of the conflict. Unfortunately, the losers in this agreement were the Sahrawis. They found the Moroccans to be more repressive than the Spanish, and the residents of the area felt like they were being ruled over by another foreign power, as they shared little in common ethnically and culturally with Morocco, but aligned more closely to the residents of Spanish Sahara. Both of these factors served as key influences in the expansion of the Sahrawi independence movement, a situation which hasn't really resolved itself even now. Also, quick side note, City Ifni was eventually handed over to Morocco in 1969 by the Spanish. I hope you guys found this video interesting. Thank you for watching. I'll either try to get the second part of the Charles Taylor video up, or maybe another video on Western Sahara in the next few weeks. We shall see, fingers crossed. Yeah, thank you once again for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.